I got you. So right now, there have been significant storms in Alaska over the past couple of days, and Alaskan Governor Mike Dunleavy is holding a press conference to update folks on the storm recovery. We know multiple people are missing. We'll go live to that now.
Okay. Mentioned a couple days ago, we have to go forward with compassion, but we also have to go forward with the speed that is necessary. And it's one thing to say compassion when you talk to folks in a given situation, but especially when they're in that need. And I'd like to echo a little bit of what the governor said. When we went out to Kipnuk today, we went out to Quig today, the people that remained, and of course the people who are over the state, grit, resilience, they want to get back, they want people to come back. So the first thing we asked every place we went, what do you need today? What do you need in a couple days? And we heard from everyone they would like help with obviously picking up debris. They need some help with getting big equipment in. And every time we took an input, I'd immediately call back and we get that to the Emergency Operations Center. So just big picture what we're doing going forward. We did with the Coast Guard, life-saving a couple days ago, 51 saves, 51 souls in one day. But the next step, you can probably hear it in the background, that is life-sustaining. We're going to get out to the villages, much like we did with Murbach, and make sure people have what they need. So the plan is working with the governor, National Guard, the organized militia as we call it, perhaps even active duty. We're going to put people in the villages to help them out with whatever they need going forward. Now, time is of the essence because winter is coming. So we need to get out there quickly, we need to do what we need to do, but take that input so we're getting what the community needs.
So just real quick and then we'll take questions, but so where Murbach was over a several 100-mile spread,
coming. So we need to get out there quickly, we need to do what we need to do, but take that input so we're getting what the community needs.
so just real quick and then we'll take questions, but so where Murbach was over a several 100-mile spread, the damage here and the focus is actually more concentrated. We were in Murbach as far north as Nome, Alaska, Gullivan, Elam, Shaktoolik, all the way down the coast. Really the focus is here. That doesn't mean that there's not damage in other villages going up in the delta here. There is, and we're going to be working on that as well. But it's really, Kipnuk is really, I would say, in some respects, ground zero. And then Quig and the villages out from that. We're going to move very fast, as the general said. We got a few weeks before freeze-up, and we had the same situation with Murbach, so we're going to move quickly. Again, all the people wanted was help. The people that are out there, they're very concerned about making sure their communities stay intact. They're worried about what the future is going to look like, and that's a discussion we're all going to have. But again, very positive attitudes. We're going to get them the help. We sent a declaration to Washington. We were out on the Blackhawks. I don't know exactly what they've said yet, but hopefully we'll know soon. I'll be in conversations with Secretary Nome, Secretary Burgum, because we're dealing with tribes out here as well. In some places we don't have city governments, and as well as the president. So again, I'm optimistic there that we'll get the assistance, but it's going to be speed to get the places up. But the message we got from the folks is they want to have their communities, their members come back. They understand that we got to get the villages up and running, but they would like to come back and keep those villages intact. So with that, we'll entertain some questions.
Do you think that people can leave Anchorage and make it back to Kipnuk with houses in time before winter?
Kipnuk needs a lot of work. We're gonna go out and assess which houses can be salvageable, meaning get them back up on their foundation, deal with insulation issues, make sure the electricity is up and running. Kipnuk looks pretty rough. You got wires on the ground, you got poles knocked over, the boardwalks are pretty much wrecked. But not to make this look like a Hollywood flick, but you had people that were talking to us from the homes they're working on, people are very positive. They think they can get things up and running. We just have to go in there and help and assess with them and see what we can do in Kipnuk. Quig's a much better shape. They need help there as well, but we believe we can get that place up and running probably on a much larger scale where we think a lot of folks can actually come back there.
Can someone characterize like where we are just kind of in the response process? Like, is it fair to say like we're kind of beyond like major evacuation steps? Now we're like into the assessment and repair phase. We're just kind of talk a little bit.
I can do that.
So there was rescue. We're in the relief process. People are in Anchorage. More people are going to go there. We're getting there, making sure that they've got a roof over their head, medical care, etc. Because in many instances, medicines were lost, personal items were lost. So getting folks back on their feet. As that's happening concurrently, that's why we're out here to assess what's happening out in the villages. We already declared an emergency. The state has. We're hoping the feds concur here real quick. We're in conversations with everybody. So part of the assessment from our guys is what do they need, when do they need it, and that's going to start very shortly. So you'll see getting things up in the midterm. Hopefully over the next few weeks, we'll have a much better understanding about how many people can go back to the villages, and then long-term discussions as to what is this going to look like over the long term. But everything is happening concurrently at this moment. And I don't know, guys, if you've got something else you want to add.
Just big picture, life-saving was the immediate, working with the Coast Guard, the 51 people in one day, and now it's life-sustaining. So yes, getting them to a mass shelter, those that wanted to go. Next step for them, for those that remain in Anchorage, getting them into non-congregate housing, in other words, apartments or something like that. And the goal is to get them back to the village. Don't know if we can do it prior to freeze up, but as the governor said, Kipnuk really is in rough shape. Quig not as bad. Working with the community, we want to do what they're able to do.
And we want to say to the other communities, we know we need to go assess those other communities.
Right.
These were the two communities that most of the folks had come out of, but we know that there are other communities. We're going to start that process. We'll have people out there. All of our commissioners know that this is all hands on deck. Everyone from DEC to Fish and Game to transportation, you name it. Anything to do with small business association and possible loans and relief because of some of the businesses that were impacted. But it's all happening at once, and we'll be periodically updating Alaskans as we go through this process.
How does this work, I guess, because this is so expensive to either have a house or apartments in Anchorage and to rebuild as well. Who pays for that? And do the people of Kipnuk have to pay for living in Anchorage while they wait for the homes to be rebuilt?
No, this is all part of the disaster declaration right now, what's happening in Anchorage and out here. Again, the idea is we can, in some respects, we can move faster in assessing these buildings out here, assessing these homes, and getting some of them back up on their foundations and hooked up to electricity and possibly sewer and water with folks in Anchorage. But we would anticipate that as we work through this process and the assessment is done over the next couple of days, very likely you'll start to see people trickle back to their communities in which their homes can be, they can get into their homes, they have the electricity and so forth. And so it's not going to be, I don't think you're going to see a massive shift back in like you did with the airlift out. But as we get things fixed over the next several weeks, I think you'll see more and more people wanting to go back home, and I think they'll have homes to go back to. Some will probably not. Some, there may be a long-term situation in Anchorage, possibly Bethel, with relatives throughout the state. We hope that's a much smaller number than what we're dealing with right now.
What's your message to the people of the region who are suffering?
Yeah, we are doing everything we can to help. This is about our 73rd disaster in my administration that's been declared. Whether it's flooding in Juneau, landslides in Wrangell, fires, Murbach, you name it, earthquakes when we came into the office. We unfortunately do disasters and have experience with disasters, and so we're in them quickly. I was, and I'm sure these guys will say the same thing. Felt very positive about what I saw in Quig and the attitudes. Very positive about the attitudes in Kipnuk, even though that is a much heavier lift. And so I would just say for the people in the region, the state, I want to thank everybody in the state for wanting to help. I would suggest, a lot of people have said, how can we help? Red Cross. Donate to the Red Cross. Donate money, donate your time, because that's what we're going to need right now. And then all of the agencies that we're working with here in the region, here statewide, here federally, I think we've got the resources. We just make sure we pull it all together like we have in other disasters. And I think people will start to see lights going on, houses being put back on their foundation, insulation dried out, and you're going to see people moving back to their homes. So rescue, relief, recovery is what the plan is. Okay? Okay, guys. Thank you. And again, we'll update you guys here periodically through this recovery process.
Thank you.
Okay?
It's the 73rd.
What's that?
It's the 73rd since you're.
All right, so that is an update, a press conference there from Alaskan leaders. The governor is there giving updates on storm recovery efforts. All right, so we're back here at home. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.